Hey folks, King here, back again to show you more vinyl finds. And I got a big stack here, so I gotta really get going and get started. This first record I should have showed in my last new vinyl video, but I forgot to put it in the stack, so now I gotta give it its due in this video. So let's start off with Audio Slave, and this album is called Out of Exile. And of course, the story with this band is, lead singer from Soundgarden, the band members from Rage Against the Machine get together and start a band, and this was their second album, and damn good one too. And this is a collector's edition, which means that it was in blue. So Exile on blue vinyl. There we go. It catches the light really nicely there. Really love this album. There's some good music on it, like Be Yourself, Your Time Has Come, The Worm. Just some really fun, hard rock groove music on here. Some great stuff. I always love this. I like the first two albums, and I didn't really care for the third, but Out of Exile is a cool record to have, and I'm a big fan of blue vinyl. Blue is my favorite color, and it looks great on vinyl. So this Out of Exile record was just awesome on blue vinyl. So from now on, the only color vinyl I'm going to get is blue, unless black of course, but mainly blue. Blue vinyl does it for me. Anyway, Out of Exile, great record. I got a bunch of dollar finds here. My favorite band is Genesis, and mainly I collected their music on CD. And I went to a record store that has a dollar bin and found a ton of their records in it, so naturally I decided to get the Genesis records I never had on vinyl. So let's just hurry and plow through these. This is the self-titled Genesis, and a lot of the hardcore fans really hate this album because it was during that era of the Phil Collins pop music machine, really just cranking out the video hits. But some good songs on this album like Mama and Home by the Sea and It's Gonna Get Better. But for the prog fans, this is pretty much the era where Genesis died. But there's some good music on it. And then I got another album from Genesis, and then there were three. Not their strongest record per se, but some good songs on it, like Down and Out. I really like Undertow, it's a ballad written by Tony Banks. Deep in the Mother Lode was a great song, as well as Many Too Many, and The Burning Rope. The big hit single on here was Follow You, Follow Me, which was written by Mike Rutherford. This was the first album after Steve Hackett left the band. And too bad, because I really loved what Steve Hackett brought to the band. And that was really lacking on this record, therefore I never see it as their strongest record. But some decent songs on it. This was also a dollar to a lot of fans. This was the last prog sounding album they put out. And we're talking about Duke, which came out in 1980 by Genesis. And of course it has, as far as if you only paid attention to hit singles, there's Turn It On Again and Misunderstanding, but there's also Behind the Lines, Duchess, Guide Vocal, Duke's Travels, Duke's Ends, which to me are the big songs on this album. And I really love Phil Collins' drumming on this record per se, because he just really flexes his muscle as a drummer on this album. Some good drumming on this album by Phil Collins. And this Duke has always been one of my favorite Genesis records, and I just love that album to death. Discovered it when I was in high school and just couldn't stop listening to it. This was the first Genesis album I ever bought back in the day, back in the mid-80s, and I remember buying it on cassette, and I wore that cassette out. It's no longer playable, but the first Genesis album I ever got was Abacab. And again, to the Genesis prog fans, not a very memorable record. Very hated on the fan forums, but this title track, Abacab, I thought was really good. Me and Sarah Jane was an awesome song. So was Keep It Dark and No Reply at All. Basically the whole side one. and Dodo was a real killer tracks on the songs. And I also got this in the mail today. I bought this online for a few bucks. It's the Genesis 3x3. And what this was just 3 songs that didn't make the Abacab album, but they were from those sessions. And those 3 songs are Paper Late, You Might Recall, and Me and Virgil. And you find them later on CD compilations, but you know, on the little famous Charisma label. And I love Paper Late because it featured the Earth, Wind & Fire horn section. You Might Recall is a gorgeous song as well. Me and Virgil, not exactly my favorite song, though the middle section of Me and Virgil is really cool, a little rockin' middle section, but the rest of the song never did it for me. But I just thought, since I'm a Genesis fan, this would be a cool thing to have, and it cost me next to nothing. So real happy to have that in the collection. And the last of the Genesis records, which I consider the 2 best records as what is known as the Phil Collins era. These are the 2 best ones, and the first 2 featured him as lead singer, which is Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering. These basically were my favorite records from Genesis. And I remember buying Trick here when I was in high school. I think I was a junior in high school when I bought this on vinyl. And I always used to play Dance on a Volcano, Squonk, and Los Indos. Those songs I played to death. I love those songs. I couldn't get enough of them. And later on, you know, as I moved out of home and sort of moved around, I think I lost it. Either I lost it while I was moving, or what I think is I lent it to somebody and they never gave it back to me. Somewhere down the line I lost this album. Bought it again on CD and tape and cassette, and never had the vinyl ever again until now. And then Wind and Wuthering was a follow-up to that album, and both these albums, I believe, came out in 1976. Trick came out in the beginning of '76. This album came out towards the end of 1976. So, but my favorite song on here, without a doubt, is a song called "Blood on the Rooftops." It was the best song that Steve Hackett was involved in with Genesis, I think. And all his years in Genesis, I think that was like the best song that involved him. Blood on the Rooftops. That was just a gorgeous song. I never get tired of that song. I could hear that song over and over, back to back, for hours, and still sing along with it and love it to death. Some great music on here, like Afterglow, One for the Vine, the 11th Earl of Mar. Some great stuff on here, and powerhouse of a record. Well, that does it for Genesis. And you know, keeping with the Genesis theme here, I got this. It says $2.99 on the price tag, but I actually got this for $1.50. The guy at the store gave me a break on it. It's Peter Gabriel Plays Live record. I believe that was from the '82 tour. And I got this for a couple of dollars, $1.50, $1.50. I haven't listened to this one yet. I guess it fits. You can say a picture, right? Haven't listened to it yet, but you know, the jacket has seen better days, but it does have the original inserts here from the tour. So, and I always dug Peter Gabriel's music as a solo artist. He is an amazing songwriter, and I cannot wait to dig into this. This is going to be an awesome collection, and you know, it has the Rhythm of the Heat, it has Eye for Touch, Family Snapshot, Intruder, Salisbury Hill, No Self Control, I Don't Remember, Shock the Monkey, Pico. You know, that's just to name a few. I'm sure this is going to be a powerhouse of a live record, so very, very happy to have this. Also, a dollar fine. Got Hearts Beat a Little Strange. Not their best record either, but a fun record. You know, upbeat fun record. The title track, Beat a Little Strange, I always dug the hell out of that song. and the song "Even It Up" is also on here. And you know, and Nancy Wilson always looks gorgeous in these pictures. So without a doubt, you could tell I got a crush on her, but and always have since the 80s. Gorgeous woman and really, really talented. So this is a fun record. I was listening to this last night and just really digging it. Another female singer whose voice I love and who's actually real beautiful as well. Sade. And this one is called Promise. Found this for $1. This cover here has probably seen better days. You can see it has some wear right here and some rain wear, but record's very clean, plays very, very well, and thank God because there's some killer music on here, such as Is It a Crime, Sweetest Taboo, Jezebel, Never As Good As the First Time. There's some great music on here. She's touring currently and is going to be coming through my area real soon. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket, which I'm kicking myself for, because not only is she a gorgeous woman, she has an amazing voice, and the music she puts out is just really, she's more of a storyteller. And instead of just singing about being sexy and being hot, she's more of a storyteller, and she tells some amazing stories in the music. And I really get a lot out of her music, so I'm real glad to have Sade in my collection. I'm an 80s fan, and sometimes when you're an 80s fan, you pick up some pretty 80 cheesy records, but this is no doubt, but it's still fun. This is Howard Jones, Humans Live. My favorite songs on here are What Is Love, New Song, and Hide and Seek. I remember this came out just when I was starting high school, and I remember they were playing a lot. The radio was playing him quite a bit. Never really was my favorite 80s artist, but I did like a lot of his music, I have to admit. And it's one of those things, like, you listen to it and I didn't realize how many Howard Jones songs I did like. So it kind of caught me by surprise how much I liked him. So glad that's in the collection as well. This one was $4, but it's worth it because I love this band, and it has one of my favorite songs from this band on this record, and it's Led Zeppelin. This is Led Zeppelin 3. Bought this for $4. Not a lot of money, but it has that wheel that you spin here that changes the pictures. There we go. Oh yeah. And but I love this picture in the back cover. Really cool picture in the back cover. It has the Immigrant Song, which is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. But mostly the reason I got it was it has one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, which is That's the Way. Ever since I had the live DVD, they have an acoustic version of That's the Way. And they played it awesome, and I've loved that song ever since. And of course, it has Since I've Been Loving You, and it has Gallows Pole. But That's the Way is the one I really can't wait to listen to on this record. My favorite song on this album. I'm real happy to have that. And I'm a Prince fan as well, and I've always wanted to own this on any kind of format, either CD, tape, or album, but for some reason just never got around to it. I don't know why, but I like some of the songs on this record. Prince, Sign of the Times. And I remember watching the concert film from this album. It was a great concert film. It was a real energetic performances. The title track, Sign of the Times, is one of my favorite songs from Prince. It does have that one song that featured Sheena Easton, which is You Got the Look. But I remember back in the day, I had a lot of friends that just played this non-stop, and so it was one of my favorite records growing up, even though I never owned it. Because I had so many friends that played it non-stop, like I am. But really happy to have this in my collection. I'm sure this is going to get some serious listens. Prince, Sign of the Times. And since we're going back to my teenage years, or the late 80s, this record definitely was was in my car. The tape of the cassette I owned was in my car non-stop. And it's Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. My God, I must have heard this record thousands of times. I even went to see them in concert during the Empire tour, and they played this album live in its entirety. And it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. The first song I heard on this one was Eyes of a Stranger. And I saw the video on MTV's Headbangers Ball back in the day, and I didn't know who Queensryche was back then. I was like, I remember thinking to myself, my God, this Eyes of a Stranger, killer tune, who the hell is this band? And I went out and bought this on cassette, and I would later get Rage for Order, and then Empire came out shortly after that. And they were my favorite band back in those years, and this album, to me, is like a 80s metal masterpiece. Revolution Calling, Operation Mindcrime, Speak, Spreading the Disease, Breaking the Silence, I Don't Believe in Love, Eyes of a Stranger. Just amazing, amazing songs from the late 80s. So really love this album, and really glad to have it finally. And I finally got off my keister and bought more Beatles record, another Beatles record. I had Abbey Road, I had the best of Beatles 67 through 70, and that was it. So I thought, let's try to actually get a Beatles album. But I didn't know really where to start. I'm not that much of a Beatles fanatic, but after looking at the song list on here, I couldn't wait to buy this one. And this is the Beatles Revolver, and it has one of my favorite Beatles songs on it, which is Tomorrow Never Knows. I dig the drum beat in that song so much. I love the drums, and it's just a cool song with all kinds of weird noises going on in the background, and one of my favorite tunes. And also it has Eleanor Rigby, which is one of my favorite Beatles songs as well as Taxman. Just dig that song, Taxman. Good Day Sunshine and Gotta Get You Into My Life are some of my all-time favorite Beatles songs, so I know I'm going to love this album, so really glad to finally have it. And another album that basically all my albums take me back to the day. It's more of a nostalgic trip in my records, and I remember when this came out, it had to be 88 or 89. This was when this album first came out. I bought the tape, and it, like Operation Mindcrime, stayed in my car for months, and I just wore this tape out. We're talking about Living Colour, their debut album, which is called Vivid. This is just a powerhouse of a record. They were one of my favorite bands. Still are one of my favorite bands. They didn't break up. They still tour. Obviously, my favorite song on here was Open Letter to a Landlord, even though the first one I heard was called The Personality. I love Open Letter to the Landlord. That is my favorite song from this band. And Middleman and Desperate People really get me going. Those are some killer songs. I love Funny Vibe because I love how this band plays funk. They're a good, not only are they a good rocking band, but they're a good funk band as well. Memories Can't Wait was a good song. Glamour Boys was like a hit single. But what closes the album, which I think is really powerful, which is What's Your Favorite Color, which segues right into Which Way to America. This is a really strong debut album, and it got them real popular. They kind of faded a little. The second album, they still had some good singles on it. They kind of faded a little bit after that. But as far as when I first got into music, that one really hooked me. As well as this record. Moving Pictures, Rush. Really, who hasn't heard this whole album? or at least 4 or 5 songs from it. It is a legendary album. The song list speaks for itself. I own this on cassette. I've owned it twice on CD. Now I got it on surround sound DVD, the whole entire album, and now the vinyl. So you can never go wrong with Moving Pictures. It's some extraordinary music. This one, kind of like What the Hell, I'll get it. and it's Boston's debut album. You know, pretty common, but I do love the music on here. I own this one on a surround sound DVD as well, so that's why I wasn't going to buy the vinyl, because I just figured, you know, I'll just listen to that. But this is a good debut album. It has a lot of my favorite songs on here: More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Foreplay and Long Time, Rock and Roll Band, Smokin', Hitch a Ride. I mean, this is a great debut record, so naturally I had to get it. It's like, why not? What the hell? Same thing with this next one. First Van Halen album that featured Sammy Hagar, 5150. I know most people who show Van Halen records on the vinyl community throw up a David Lee Roth era album, because everybody views this era of Van Halen as a bunch of cheesy 80s metal and not really, they think it doesn't really hold up well to the David Lee Roth era. Me personally, I could care less who's singing for Van Halen, as long as it's the same guys playing the bass, the drums, and the guitar. That to me is Van Halen. I could care less who sings for Van Halen. They could put a mannequin in front of them as well, so I don't care. It's all I'm listening to is guitar, bass, and drums anyway. So to me, it never really mattered who sang for Van Halen, because I'm listening to the band. I'm not listening to the singer. But I do like Sammy Hagar's vocals on this album. This is a fun album. I dug the hell out of this album. Dreams, Good Enough, Summer Nights, and the song 5150 are really killer on here. So love this. Alright, and the last record of this big stack. I'm glad to finally have this in my collection. I've been sampling songs on YouTube from this. A few songs, not all of them, and I thought, I have to own this album. Found a used copy, not in the best shape, but hey, the records are clean, and that's all that matters, right? So I got George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. And this is a used copy, and I'm sure this box has seen better days, but hey, you know, some great music on here. And obviously George Harrison had quite the back catalog of songs that the Beatles weren't doing. And so he had more than enough to make a record set of his own, and he did. And, you know, like I said, I sampled some songs on YouTube, and I really love what I heard. And I've been searching for this for the last week or so, week and a half. I found a decent used copy. The records look clean. I mean, maybe I can go over them. I can give them a brief cleaning. But, you know, I really can't wait to spin these. This is going to be real exciting to listen to this album. I really can't wait. I have a friend who I used to be in a band with, who is a huge Beatles fan. So he has all the Beatles records, and they're all in mint condition, plus all the solo records that came from the Beatles, with the exception of Ringo Starr. He wants nothing to do with that. But he did have a really good, pristine, clean copy of this record here, and he just doesn't shut up about it. I mean, he's like, oh my God, All Things Must Pass, what an amazing album. The best from George Harrison. And I was like, eh. But, you know, after sampling a few songs, I have to admit that the music on here is really good, so I'm real excited to own this. Probably not the best, in the best condition, but oh well. It's mine, and I can't wait to spin this. Alright, well that's going to do it. That was what I hauled in this weekend. Hope everyone's doing well. I've been watching a lot of your videos, and you guys make some great videos. I'm real excited about what people throw up there. I'm learning so much about music and different types of records, different bands and artists. You know, I love being on the PC because you learn so much, and the people are so kind here. So and a lot of you have been watching my videos, and have been commenting and subscribing. And thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm making some great friends here, and this is just a wonderful place to be. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you at the next video.